Southeast Asia is definitely one of the most dynamic regions that we see. It's a young tech-forward population, and they've been very high and early crypto adopters as far as we can tell. Some of the interesting kind of themes that we've seen in South Asia over the years is, if you remember, like Axie back in the day.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun Southeast Asia phenomenon because it was made in Vietnam and consumed in the Philippines. And for what it's worth, I was running like a gaming guild with some Filipino scholars. The people like earned real money. They had real mobility. Like my own scholars, like somebody paid for their mom's like hospital bills, somebody painted the walls in their house. Like it was just really a lot of like human heartwarming stories that came out of it. I don't think that the tokenomics were very supportive and sustainable. So it did implode a little bit at the end. But there's a couple of signals in there for me. One is, I think young people are telling us that they want access to financial services and they want to improve their lot in life by being able to move upward. And in many geographies, those options are just limited. In so many countries, like real estate is like the means of growing wealth. But you look around you, like there is an affordability crisis, like in every country that we can think of. Right? Not just Singapore, like Australia has this acute thing, like and many other markets. And local stock exchanges are also not necessarily kind of, well structured, and there's not enough liquidity for big things to happen. So young people do want access to these global opportunities, and financial services are getting democratized, and crypto is just one instantiation of it. There's obviously a lot of other great work that fintechs are also doing. But one of the key things we've observed is that some of the action in fintech has shifted from the unbanked to the unbrokered. That's a really big theme that is going to be front and center for the next 10 years that we're excited to participate in different ways.
I really like how you brought out the trends that's been happening in the region, because we invest in a lot of fintechs in the region, and a big theme is around wealth management. You see that actually for like Asian economies, let's say in Vietnam, the top of priority of people who save their monthly incomes is to afford a house down the road. And that's where you get a lot of the wealth accrual within property, as you alluded. And the other thing I like that you mentioned as well is this whole thing around moving from unbanked to unbrokered, right? Because what we see today, a lot of companies, a lot of retail investors, the offshore kind of fiat to crypto kind of activity is so much higher. Compared to in the absence of a like regulatory license framework and players, then that's where you see that kind of disparity. But as what we see in the US, right, when you have clearer rules, better frameworks and regimes, you're able to increase adoption and you're able to provide a safer space for everything to happen as well.
And this is one of the things that like a lot of people ask me of, hey, how do I get started, or what should I do if I want to invest? And the advice I always give to people is there's a few different things that you should think about to invest safely. And the first one is you should look at like onshore regulated options. I think offshore exchanges may have their place, but in 2026, actually it's a lot safer, the whole system. And there's many safe onshore options. I think the second thing is you should just start with small amounts of money. I actually tell people to just start with USDC. You don't even have to really stomach the volatility if you don't want. Just get started with stablecoins and actually just send a few dollars here and there to your friends and see and feel what that experience looks like. And then if you do want to kind of go further, just start with Bitcoin. Because even if you look at like the crypto markets, there's still a lot of data that is attached to Bitcoin. So you don't, and so the thing that I tell people not to do is, if somebody like recommends like a hot meme coin on your WhatsApp group, that is not the word. It's probably not going to work out well.
I think the further you distance yourself from all the DeFi talk and all the diamond hands or hold to the moon talk on X, right? The easier your kind of transition and exposure, movement into exposure in this part of the world. And that's what we see with some of our portfolio as well, right? We have a company in Indonesia called Ajaib. They do like digital brokerage, right? And they launch crypto brokerage as well. To your point, also providing another option, because instead of just investing in local equities, I would want to hold part of my assets in a crypto, Bitcoin, or even stable coins for that matter. So I think we're seeing a lot of that in the region as well, and pretty excited how, for example, like FAST, right? You have the local currency stablecoin, but you also they have a large offline merchant acquiring piece with FAST, specifically in Indonesia, right? So the possibilities of using stablecoins to enable some of these cross-border remittance or peer-to-peer transactions or even new use cases with programmatic money. I think that is something that is interesting.